Just a little over 10 years ago, the CW debuted its show Arrow starring Stephen Amell, depicting for the first time in his own show or movie DC Comics hero Green Arrow. If the name of this channel, the logo, and the opening bumper wasn't enough evidence, we here at Comic Book Hunters are big fans of the Emerald Archer. So when we heard that Stephen Amell was going to don the hood once more as Oliver Queen, we were quite excited. But before we get into Green Arrow's return for the Flash's 9th and final season, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button for more content just like this. On social media recently, Stephen Amell revealed that there couldn't be a final season of The Flash without him. Whether it was on Twitter or Instagram, Amell heavily hinted that he would be involved in the final season of The Flash. A few days later, he showed his own cast chair from the set of The Flash in Vancouver, Canada. The last time we saw the Arrowverse's version of Green Arrow, he had died during the Crisis on Infinite Earths event that tied the entire slate of shows in the Arrowverse together. Throughout the event, he became the Spectre, an alter ego in the comics held by Jim Corrigan. Long story short, as the Spectre, Oliver Queen helped our heroes throughout the Crisis event against the Anti-Monitor, and the final whereabouts of the former Oliver Queen was revealed to be in the afterlife, in which his wife Felicity Smoke would join him during the finale of Arrow. The Flash has mentioned Oliver throughout its last couple seasons by name and by reference, but has not made mention of his being around, whether through the afterlife or otherwise. So when his reemergence was announced by the man portraying him, Stephen Amell, over the last week, it has definitely sparked predictions and theories across the internet on how Star City's greatest hero could return to the small screen. That's what we aim to do here in today's video, and as we break down our top 5 ways that Green Arrow could come back to the Arrowverse. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button to help this channel grow. Spoiler warning, the following will discuss the Earth Prime comic series that was released in the summer of 2022. You have been warned. Coming in at number 5 on the list of ways Green Arrow could return to the Arrowverse is through the Lazarus Pit. This scenario would require backbreaking techniques that would make Lex Luger proud. If the Lazarus Pit were to be found on Earth Prime that wasn't destroyed, and if there was a need, a reason, or a thought to go after Oliver Queen's long dead corpse to bring it back to life, I would personally rank this as the absolute worst way to bring the Green Arrow back. To be honest, this is also my least likely way to see Oliver come back, but considering the kinds of stories we have seen throughout the history of the Arrowverse, sadly, I cannot rule this out. If you made it to season 9 of The Flash not knowing what the Lazarus Pit is, it's a mystical and literal pit that is essentially DC's version of the Fountain of Youth. It's most associated with Ra's al Ghul, and in the Arrowverse has been used to bring back dead heroes, including Sarah Lance and Oliver's own sister, Thea Queen. Again, using the pit to bring Oliver back makes zero sense, but it is a possibility that they could find one. Next up at number 4 is through a fake out. I know I said that the Lazarus Pit would be the absolute worst way to bring back Oliver, but this is probably the most realistic worst way we could see Stephen Amell's return to the Arrowverse pan out. The ability to disguise one's appearance exists in the Arrowverse, and specifically on The Flash. This has actually been a plot device several times, including The Flash's main villain, Eobard Thawne. However, the more recent one was introduced during The Flash's 3rd season, in which H.R. Wells shows off some impressive technology.
What? Yeah. Dad.
This fake out would be a cheap way to bring back Amell, and it would feel like a road we have already traveled down, especially on The Flash, but again, it is a possibility. The Flash is no stranger to doppelgangers, and that's why number 3 could feature an alternate Earth version of Oliver Queen. My mind may have slipped on this one, and forgive me, because it's been a long time since the last season of The Flash, but the idea of alternate Earth still existing is unknown to Earth Prime's heroes. But I'd place the idea of our heroes meeting an alternate version of Oliver as one of the more likely ways in the present time that Oliver Queen could appear. On a separate channel a few years back, I brought the idea of Green Arrow from Earth 3, known as Deadeye, appearing, which is actually an evil version of Oliver Queen. While I would be more in favor of Earth Prime Oliver appearing, I think the idea of an evil Oliver showing up would be quite an interesting concept, even though we technically have seen that already with Crisis on Earth X. Let's be honest, if we have Amell appearing in a limited capacity, the last thing I want to be doing personally is rooting against him, but I may be in the minority of that, so let me know if an evil Oliver is something you want to see in Flash Season 9 by letting me know in the comment section down below. The number 2 way we could see Oliver Queen return, and it would be apropos considering the storytelling device Arrow used, and that is through a flashback. Without damaging the finale of Arrow or the true consequences of Crisis on Infinite Earths in Flash's final season, the most obvious and easiest way to bring back Oliver Queen is through a flashback. Arrow and Flash in the comics don't have nearly the interactions they do within the confines of the Arrowverse. So one of the strongest points in the Arrowverse has as a medium is the unexplored relationship between Oliver Queen and Barry Allen. Oliver is portrayed as a mentor to Barry due to Oliver's experience as a hero by the time Barry gets struck by lightning. The flashback featuring Oliver could be a teaching moment between the two, or simply a team-up that could be interspliced throughout the present-day story, much like we saw throughout Arrow's run. We've seen plenty of these types of moments between Barry and Oliver over the course of the show's crossovers, but it is the easiest, most realistic of the scenarios that could bring Amell back to the Arrowverse, and it'd also be the most heartwarming. Number 1, and here's where the spoilers for Earth Prime come into play, because this shouldn't be a shock when this happens on screen. Stephen Amell's return to the Arrowverse will more than likely be a reprisal of the Spectre role. Despite Amell saying it doesn't matter how he's coming back for the final season of The Flash, it will, and it's something that has been in motion since this past summer. Over the years, DC has released tie-in comics and even animated tie-in films to bridge the gaps between shows and seasons, and Earth Prime did just that. Throughout the 6-issue limited series, heroes vanish and a green aura surrounds them in their place. It all leads up into the final issue with Excess and Impulse, or Barton or Allen, taking on the big bad that has been lurking in the shadows throughout the run, Magog. The person behind the hero's disappearances wasn't Magog actually, but the former Oliver Queen, also now known as the Spectre. This was all done in a test for Excess and Impulse in 2049 to prepare them for a future conflict that they will need to be ready for. We won't see Stephen Amell until episode 9 of The Flash this year, so it'll likely be a slow build-up as we head towards the series' conclusion. And these are just 5 of the possible ways we could see Oliver Queen come back to television later this year, but enough of what I think. What do you think? How would you bring back Oliver Queen? We are less than 4 weeks away from the return of The Flash as we head toward the final episodes of the Arrowverse's final season. That's, of course, if you exclude Superman and Lois. Do you want to see Earth Prime Oliver resurrected or an evil alternate version of the Emerald Archer? And if Oliver returns as a Spectre, how do you envision that going? Let us know in the comment section down below, and of course don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, as that will help others find this content just like you did. But as always, aim true, comic book hunters, and we'll see you on the next one.